This is American Real, where we aim to inspire, empower, and enlighten you through the stories of our guests. Here's your host, Roger Brooks.
What do you have to say for people based on what you observe, what you see? Maybe give us some encouragement about how things can get better if we might act in a certain way.
I feel like now, when I saw whatever was happening, it was outrageous. I'm sure you have seen that as well. And there are some people that, at the core, again, I think we are fighting for very superficial things. When we are looking at color and stuff. But right now, I think people are afraid to let go. Because they are afraid that somebody else will replace them. Bringing whatever balance we can is important at our level, and if each individual thinks like that, then I think we will have a balance around. This is easier said than done, but it is very, very beautiful when done.
Let me guess, you're an entrepreneur looking for ways to grow your business online. And you've probably tried everything to grow your business, including social media, SEO, even paid ads, only to find out that nothing truly works. So what if I told you that writing a book that goes on to become a bestseller is the magic wand, and that you can do it in as little as 30 days, 2 weeks, or even over a weekend in some cases, without spending more than 10 minutes a day? Would you be interested? My name is Roger Brooks, and I'm the founder and host of American Real TV, where I interview world-class guests to empower others through the essence of story. But I didn't get here overnight, and my mission certainly doesn't end here. Ever since I was a little boy, it's been my dream to empower others through the craft of writing and storytelling. And throughout my life, I came across several mentors who pushed me toward my passion for writing books and helping others to do the same. There is no greater joy than to be working with aspiring authors and to help them establish true credibility within their industry by writing and publishing their first book, which I'm proud to say have all gone on to become bestsellers. Now, you're seeing this video because I just opened enrollment for my new book writing program, where I promise to take you from page 1 to published in 90 days or less. I will be personally working with you to overcome the same fears and obstacles that kept me from pursuing my dreams all of those years. Simply click on the link below to see how I could help you become a first-time best-selling author. I look forward to seeing you on the inside.
This is American Real. I am Roger Brooks. My guest today is Falguni Katira. You are a heart-centered, compassionate, and tenacious professional transformational coach who thrives on human transformation, helping leaders change their habits and thought patterns. In addition, you are a hypnotherapist who helps executives and business owners achieve radical personal and professional transformation by tapping into their inner intelligence. You do this by using your EQ-loaded signature visibility framework that ultimately creates self-awareness leaders. Falguni, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Roger. Thank you for the beautiful introduction.
It's my pleasure, and we've been connected on LinkedIn for
Yes.
quite some time now, and I love watching your posts and all the wonderful knowledge and wisdom that you're bringing to the platform. Tell us a little bit about LinkedIn and how you got started, and tell us about your growth and how you've just been getting so many, so much great engagement and an increase of followers, it seems, week after week.
Yes, thank you so much. And it's a pleasure being here, by the way. So thank you for this. And LinkedIn, yes, it has been an interesting journey on LinkedIn. I started just, thinking of it as a job platform like most of us, start with. And then I realized soon the pattern that, there were content was being created, and then that was coming into my feed. So I started to see, and I was already creating content on Facebook, but that was more like, my personal slice of life stories and things like that. So I misunderstood LinkedIn to be also something similar, but more on the professional side. So I started sharing stories about myself in the professional area of things on LinkedIn. But I soon started to gain followers, and I didn't know where to take them. I didn't know who I was or what I was really doing or what I was wanting to do. So it was a journey of self-discovery that was kind of triggered by LinkedIn, because, I'm like, there are people that are coming to me. If I am not posting, they're reaching out, like, where are you? We are missing you. So I sensed that there is a kind of community that is being built up. There is a sense of, a connection, like deep connections that were building up, and those relationships were very important to me. They were very fulfilling for me in terms of not only, learning from them, but also sharing some of my life journey with them. And it was a mutually, very beneficial relationship in that sense. So I started to understand the power of it. I started getting job offers, and most of the things you're not even looking for. So you don't know what exactly to do and how exactly to position yourself. So it took me a while. I went off of LinkedIn. I was like, I can't figure it out. I don't have the time for it, and so on. But then I came back, and then I realized the power of it. So I started to come together on the platform with people that were of interest to me, that were of, that were talking the same things that I was really interested in, but had a different perspective towards. So, it was really about gaining knowledge and about even sharing my knowledge in becoming a thought leader. So that was something that I started with doing on LinkedIn. And that is why I continue to do that to date. I have made some really good connections on LinkedIn. I have learned a whole lot, and I hope I'm able to give back to the community that follows me on LinkedIn as well, with the same kind of rich knowledge that I have been receiving. So that's what I do on LinkedIn.
Falguni, what do you think it is about LinkedIn that's different than, say, Facebook? It seems that there's a different chemistry there, a different energy. I know we're going to talk a little bit about energy today when we talk about hypnotherapy, but what is it about LinkedIn that's different from your perspective?
I think the intention, Roger. I think completely the reason why people log in on LinkedIn versus why they go on Facebook, the intention is completely different. And that is why I think it just makes it so much more meaningful engagement when you are on LinkedIn, because you know that you go there to learn, or you go there to share. It is very intentional. Of course, there are people searching for jobs, and all of that networking is happening, and it should. We are all living in a world where we all need each other to kind of grow and succeed in life and learn from and stuff. So, but I think the whole intention, Facebook is still something that is like for my friends, but this is something that is more serious. I think the whole intention is different when you go there, and what you are seeking from your connections there is very different.
And for people that may not be using it to their full advantage, maybe they're like you and I were, say, a few years ago, we're really not engaging. Where would you recommend they start, and how much should they engage? What kind of things should they post? What are your recommendations?
I would think that they should start from, if they are not comfortable creating content, follow thought leaders in their field of interest, at least 5. LinkedIn is a place which requires time to grow deeper and understand what this platform can truly give you. It can give you things at the surface level, and if you want to stop at that, that's great. But if you want to go deeper, it requires time, it requires dedication. So that's how I started. I went on, people that I really was interested to learn from. They were thought leaders in the area of my interest. So I went to their post. I used to diligently, literally comment every single time. And I used to receive engagement from them as well, because, you're sharing fields, and plus because it is your area of interest again, it just makes for a very meaningful conversation. And it just kind of triggers a beautiful start of a connection, of a relationship. And you kind of take it from there. So I would definitely encourage people who are not wanting to create content, or don't have the time, or don't know, to start from that. Start from engaging on people's content. Start from seeing what other people are talking about. Follow relevant hashtags that are important to you, and see what people are talking about, and engage thoughtfully with people, that are talking about things that are of interest to you. That's how, you'll be noticed, and then people will start understanding, okay, this person is interested in this topic. So then they'll start tagging you, and it just starts kind of, you'll be kind of sucked in. You'll be in the inner circle then.
That's great advice. And for people that are willing to create content, but maybe they haven't done so yet, what do you recommend there? Should they do a variety of things, maybe do some videos, just some photos? What are some of the ideas that have been successful for you?
Starting with what you are most comfortable with, because consistently showing up is number one. And then I think then creating different kinds of content just for variety, seeing what fits for you, seeing what fits for your audience is step number two. But consistently showing up with something that's really easy for you to get into, I would go with that. That's what I did. I used to only post, text, long posts. That's what I was comfortable with. But then slowly, I broke my fear and I started going on video, and I started doing a lot of different things. So it is about just getting started with what you're comfortable with, and then definitely explore and experiment. It will be fun.
And I know now you are a NLP certified hypnotherapist. Tell us what that means. How do you become certified in this? And let's talk about hypnotherapy.
Sure. So I was really intrigued because I was working with a coach myself, and so I was talking to her, and I was just talking to her about my story, and I was like, I'm really interested in hypnotherapy. And she's like, you don't realize, but you are in a trance. And I'm like, what? Like, it just hit me at that time. And I was like, what? I really want to learn what all of this is about. And I know that it is, it is for improving your, it is not only for improving your, understanding of people. It's just making you aware, for sure, but it is also giving you that deep experience of that peaceful state. Because there are people that are we are all running around hopelessly and on autopilot, and every single day we have been doing that without knowing. So not until you experience a deep peaceful state is when you realize that there is something that that we need. There is peace in pause. That's how I say, there is important learnings that we can get when we pause, when we really go to that resourceful state of peace, because there are many things that we have already, but we don't process them enough. So I think hypnotherapy helps me to just, and my clients, to just really go to that peaceful state. It is not about acting crazy. It's not about anything weird that I had at least heard about hypnotherapy and what will happen and things like that. It's literally just deep sort of meditation. It's a very deep trance.
That's what I was just going to ask you. Would it be a form of meditation?
Yes, it's similar to that.
But are you able to help guide people into this state? Is that what you do? Is that what your work is?
Yes. So we guide people into getting into that state where they are more resourceful, where their unconscious mind is actually awakened so much so that whenever you induct them with any positive thoughts or anything that they are afraid of, or remove their fear or whatever that is, they are actually processing that in their unconscious mind, which kind of then connects them to their conscious mind, and they see the benefits, in their life. But it is a very, very powerful technique.
Can you give us an example of how you put someone into this state, or help put someone into this state?
Yes. So, we first quieten the environment. We get into, we quieten the environment so much so that the person is actually in the moment. They are not in the past or in the future. They're in the moment. And then there is willingness. And nobody can make you do anything in hypnotherapy and in a hypnotherapic state until you are allowing yourself to be in that state. So, it is totally, you are in control, much, the opposite of what people usually think. You are absolutely in control. You are exactly knowing what you are doing. And you can, so when we are in a session, we are talking to people and we are saying so the way it works, and I don't do only hypnotherapy, but I also, combine it with my coaching, with my, NLP practices and so on. So you naturally get into that state, and I already know what you are seeking, what you are wanting. So all that I use hypnotherapy for is to induct those things into your subconscious, because, your subconscious, or unconscious mind, your conscious mind will set a goal, but your unconscious mind will get it for you. So it is about that combination.
And just so I'm following you, you're saying this because you talk to the person in advance. You understand what they're seeking, and then when they go into the hypnotherapy, you're able to direct them or give them guidance on the topics that they need that goes into their subconscious mind.
That's exactly right.
Okay, very interesting. That may be something I might be interested in learning more about.
Absolutely. And this is something that is very customized to the person. It could be, broadly, like people, everybody in the room is, having some sort of fear. We can get that released and so on. But there are also things that are very specific to an individual. So we also go to that individual level. In my one-on-one coaching, I do that. I go to that individual level and induct those specific things that are of interest to you, or are going to be super beneficial to you, and so on. So it is very, it is something that is applicable to a broader audience, as well as a customizable one-on-one setting as well.
Very interesting. So you are now certified in hypnotherapy. What did it take to become certified? What are there tests, exams that you need to pass in order to get to that level?
Yes. So there was practice. I had to go through hours and hours of practicing hypnotherapy, because, it is something that you can read about, but to actually learn, to implement it and actually do it in action, took practice. So I did that. And I have worked with clients and luckily gained more practice now. So, there was a lot of learning. There was understanding of what this concept of hypnotherapy is. We were, taught about, how it all started, and, what was the reason behind, getting into this trance and how it works and stuff like that. So it is a very interesting technique if somebody is interested to learn more about. I would recommend to take classes yourself and really experience, because each individual gets very different things out of this whole sessions that were there. So I went for a week-long session. It was intense, but it was great.
Falguni, I was going to ask you if you could give us a sense of why you like this so much. Like, what is it that gives you the desire to be able to do this? And then on the other side of that, what do you like most about helping people in this regard?
Actually, both of your questions are intertwined. So I love helping people, and that is why I learn all the different techniques that I can. And I am very curious myself. So I have had an upbringing that was very much, into like Eastern philosophy, Vedic philosophy. So I have been brought up with that understanding of the world and with that. And I really hold it very dear to me. That's very beautiful. And I love how the Western philosophy kind of is complementing that knowledge, and how it is all coming together so beautifully, because it's all about truth is multidimensional, so it kind of looking at it from different dimensions. It's just another aspect of it that just shines, and it's very beautiful to experience. So that's why I was interested, and helping people is my passion, only because connectedness is my number one strength. I feed off of people's energy. I feed off of connections and deeper connections, not just LinkedIn connections that we're connected to thousands and thousands of people. But, what I mean is that true deep connections definitely impact our lives in more ways than we even realize, because we all have heard, that we are a sum total of 5 people we surround ourselves with. There's no bigger truth than that. So, and also I have this passion about building a society where so I had to understand what was my trigger point, what is it that I just cannot tolerate. And, you don't really need to go through those deep levels of trauma to really experience that. But most of us do without even realizing. that, there is something about hopelessness that I just cannot handle. I feel like we all have umpteen potential. I think that we just are not aware of it. That's my foundational belief, that we all have unlimited potential. It's only about tapping into that. And the best thing that I have understood that can help is our own mind. We, how much ever we listen to inspirational thoughts, and we listen to leaders that inspire us, all of that is great, but not until you allow those thoughts from here into your heart and your action. It's not going to work, how many ever hours we put into that, right? So I thought that if this is the entry point, this is the filter that one needs to cross, any thought needs to cross before I can actually implement or action on it. I thought that's where I have to put all my attention to really cross that bridge, and allow that thing to happen. Because I'm really inspired listening to people, but I'm not doing anything about it. I am not putting it into action. It's all getting jammed here without getting processed, so I started to tend here. I started to meditate and understand how I can process those things. Hypnotherapy is another technique that helps us process that, because, you are like, we have so much of information overload, and now more so because of technological benefits, or it's just too much basically. So it's more and more important. The more we are advancing in technology, I think the more we have to advance in getting at more peaceful states, because that's where the magic happens. That's where the change happens. Whatever else we do, we are just overloading ourselves, and that stress is increasing and so on. I mean, I can go on and on, but that's essentially the idea of why I am so interested in the power of the mind, why I am so interested in self-awareness, because unless and until we don't know about who we are, we cannot. If I don't know who I am and what are my limiting beliefs, what are my problem areas, why I'm not able to grow, I will not grow. I have to understand that. Only when you know what your diagnosis is of your ailment or your sickness, can the doctor tell you that which medicine will work. But before knowing that, no medicine is going to work. It's something similar to that.
Falguni, when you talked about connection earlier and the importance of that, what does connection mean to you at its deepest level? Like, if you can just go really deep with it, like what is it for people that haven't really experienced that yet? So hopefully we could get them thinking about it in a different way.
I'm so glad you asked this question. Thank you. So about connection. So we are all, again, my foundational belief is that we are all connected, whether we realize it or not. Okay, so we are all connected by the human spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? So we are all connected, and and when I say connected, the deepest level of connection, what I mean is that if one suffers, the other suffers automatically. That's the kind of connection I mean.
And just the opposite, when one achieves, we all achieve as well.
Exactly. When one achieves, you emit that vibe that is infectious to the other person. We all are, affecting each other, infecting each other, whatever you want to call it. We are doing that, right? Our vibes are definitely impacting the other person in ways that we are not perhaps aware of. So if we work on ourselves, you can actually start that wave of change, that wave of positivity, that wave of, this thing which is it's like a domino. It will work, on other people as well. So that is why, again, you are the center in that sense. You could be the center. You could think of if each individual thinks of themselves as the center and starts working on their own self and reaches that positive state or that resourceful state for themselves, they are definitely impacting, because we communicate a lot through vibes, and we are all connected at the vibe level as well. So that's what connection means to me. And then besides that, I think connecting with people that are able to provide you different perspectives of life, because that's where growth also happens, right? So not being fearful about losing your stance, not being fearful about not wanting to limiting yourself within an echo chamber, just yes saying people, not just limiting yourself to that, but actually stepping out of that and seeing, if not what, please tell me, like it's being open to that knowledge, it's being open to understanding different ways of living is, I think, again, another level of connection that we can experience. Being an immigrant, Roger, I was able to experience that. And I think of that as a very, big blessing to me, actually, because when I came here, it was a totally different world. I mean, I'm from India. So when I came to America, it was a totally different, and I came here when I was 23 and I was living with my parents. So I'd seen very little of the world outside because I was in a very beautiful, very protected environment. So when I got out and I came to the US, I came with my husband, I got married and I came here, and he was the only man I knew. So in this whole country, I didn't know anybody. So from there, to build this connections, to build these friendships, it totally changed my mind. It totally helped me understand what connections truly meant. In India, I was living in a very close-knit environment. So I had people around me all the time. We were very, my family is a very close-knit family. So I had my extended cousins, extended family, everybody near me. So I didn't understand the meaning of connection then, because I was so deep in it. I didn't realize not having them. So when I came here, the polar opposite of being surrounded by 100 people to nobody, and that nobody struck hard. I was like, I don't know. And then you have all this consciousness about, will they understand how I speak? I have an accent. I look a certain way. I am, I don't know. Maybe I dress differently. It was a lot of things going on in my mind. And I had got a lot of baggage from India in terms of beliefs, unknowingly. So I had to get rid of a whole lot to really understand. And that's when actually beautifully my knowledge, everything that I'd heard of, I told you from childhood, I was listening to this Vedic philosophies and stuff like that. So I knew we are all connected conceptually, but to then actually live it and understand that this person is also similar to me. We share the same interest, we share the same pain, we can connect at that level, was very, very eye-opening for me. I was like, let's get beyond this limitations of color or sex or whatever that is. Let's just get beyond that. And even beliefs for that matter. You could have totally different outlook towards life, and I could, but that does not prevent us from connecting with one another, because, we still have, there are so many similarities that we have that we are still connected by, so understanding what that was another exercise I used to do. I used to meet people, my husband's colleagues, and those were my first point of contacts at that point. So to understand, and they were all American. So, I mean, all white, American locals. So I was like, what do I talk to them about? What is the common thing that I can talk to them about? And then I started to talk very foundational, basic things, because I figured quickly that that's what is common. Other than that, our love for movies, or our love, finding what is, yes, that was important. And that's where we kind of built our relationship from, only to understand that we are more connected deeply than just the movies or just this. We have similar sort of discomforts, or similar sort of limitations that we are holding in our mind, because they were just as interested to know about me as I was. And I never thought about it that way. I only thought it was me wanting to know them. And we kind of think about that a lot, but I forgot, and I completely missed to understand that it could be possible that they also want to know about me, my culture, the richness that I have. I was totally not looking at that, I was only looking at the, there. So that experience opened a lot of, it helped me a lot. It gave me a totally different perspective.
Wow, that's I'm really happy that you share that with us. And I could feel, as you're talking, I could picture it. I could feel what you were going through, and then how over time, you were able to really develop special connections because you had that open mind, and it seems like the people you were connecting with also had that. So that's really, really incredible. Falguni, what would you say? The U.S. right now, as you know, I'm sure you know, is really divided. In a lot of ways, politically, you talk about race, there's just so much divide, and it saddens me, being an American to watch this, and as it saddens millions of others. But I would love to get your perspective, coming from the other side of the globe now, living here for some time, what do you have to say for people based on what you observe, what you see, and maybe give us some encouragement about how things can get better if we might act in a certain way?
Thank you, Roger. I have been in this country for 15 years, so I have now found home here. I totally, feel like I belong to this place, and I feel like I am connected with everybody at a very different level now, because this is my country too. I am a US citizen as well. So I feel like now, when I saw whatever was happening, it was outrageous. I'm sure you have seen that as well. And there are some people that, at the core, again, I think we are fighting for very superficial things. When we are looking at color and stuff, I mean, you and I perhaps understand this and appreciate that, we have more deeper connections than just, stopping at the color or things like that. But I think what it helps to understand is that what is the real struggle, even for, the whites as well as for the people of color. What is their foundational problem? I think going down to that and understanding that will help. Just by calling out names and just by taking sides, we are probably aggravating the problem and not solving it. To solve, we have to go to the root cause of the problem. What is the root cause? And for me, with my understanding, I feel that the root cause, there is fear, and there is discontent, and on both sides, right? Because there is fear of, losing out on something on both sides again. So I think tapping into that and helping them understand and rationalizing with the right leaders, so that is why we need the right leaders in that powerful positions to be able to influence that kind of a thought process, to be able to influence that kind of a change where we are looking into the root cause and uprooting that at that level. Because if fear is eliminated, then there is a lot of possibilities that open up. But right now, I think people are afraid to let go, because they are afraid that, somebody else will replace them, or they have this fear of, security. They have this fear of, understanding how their kids will work and how this whole, I think we are casting blame without knowing enough, or on historical experiences that may or may not hold true today. I think that there has been a lot of change, and we are still holding off on certain beliefs or certain experiences from our generations, and their time was totally different. So to be able to be open-minded and adaptive towards our today, living in the now and seeing what it is today. I think we all have friends that are of different colors, like whoever has lived here has had friends that are, of different origins, I want to say. So if this person can be good, why not that whole race could be good too? Why don't we think about the possibilities of positivity? Why do we want to cast blame at they are all like that, and why do we want to think like that, right? So that's at least what I have understood, that I could influence, or I could start those conversations at my level. I can talk to my friends about it. I remember having this chat with my Black friends. I just absolutely love them. They are very peace loving, very loving people. I'm sure you have friends and you've experienced the same. So I reached out to them, telling them that no matter what is happening out there, for whatever it is worth for you, I want to say that I am with you, and I did the same with my white friends too, because again, they are also in fear, so it is very important for them to know that it's really okay, and that there are people that are going to be with them, and not judge them, and be with them in their time of fear, right? So that was very important. I think the whole focus then became on Black Lives Matter. Of course they matter. There's no other way. They definitely do matter. But I think ignoring the problem of this other race as well is causing more of conflict and more of the problem. So I think bringing whatever balance we can is important at our level. And if each individual thinks like that, then I think we will have a balance around. This is easier said than done, but it is very, very beautiful when done. and we can start with our own self. At least I can take responsibility of my own self. I can't influence the whole world, but I can influence myself. And if two people around me, that's good enough, because then the circle will continue. So when you bring it down, the macro problems to the micro solutions, I think that definitely helps a lot. Then you are not afraid of the problem. Then you are in the solution mode and thinking, what can I do about it? Right? At least nearby, my people near me at least should be safe. They should feel that they are loved. They should feel they are included, which they are, because I don't have any other feeling. So it's only right for me to express that and feel them, make them felt that way. So I'm just doing my job in that sense.
So well said, Falguni. And look, I didn't think, as you were talking, I didn't think about that. So I'm really happy that you talked about bringing it back to the micro level. It starts here. I was going to say it starts at home, but it even starts even further than that. It starts here with us, and then if we're the light, then others will hopefully see that and participate as well. The one question I did have, though, is how, when you look at leadership overall, and it does, whether it's politics or anything, and you see, we observe the fighting, and I think this week there was something in the news where one senator gave another senator a hug, and there was a lot of fallout because of that. And that's really hurtful. It doesn't, at the end of the day, we're all trying to help each other, and these labels and judgments just seem to be tearing us more apart. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, the positions of power come with a lot at a very high price. I think, they have to, at a certain level, stop, being human when they are in a certain setting. And that is extremely saddening. And I think that is why, I think it was a very natural, I thought it was beautiful to see that. I think when we open our arms, we will definitely, be more welcoming. And I'm sorry, I come back to fear again and again, because I sense it so strongly, Roger. And I think that if that is, and fear comes, what is the solution for that? It is to replace that fear with love. One of my spiritual master always says that, fear is love upside down.
I like that.
Yeah. So it is just about replacing that fear with love and making each other felt, seen, heard, visible again, right? To make them feel that we hear you, we feel you. And I thought that it was a very beautiful gesture. I'm sad about the back. I'm sad about, how it is all construed and how it is all coming out. But I thought that, if we give importance to being human, we will be a much better society.
Okay, I have to talk to you about leadership. That's something that you are passionate about, and I'd love to know a little bit more about how you approach this with your clients. Of course, many people want to be leaders, or they're in positions of leadership, but what exactly do you do, and what are some of your techniques? Maybe you could walk us through that, and what does leadership mean to you?
So leadership for me is, being self-aware, radically self-aware, so that you are so comfortable in your own skin. We spoke about power a little bit. We spoke about so many things. I think it's about, when a leader is a leader not because of the position that he or she necessarily holds, but the attitude that person has, and the passion and the fire to make a change, or to drive change, right? So for that, what do we need? And I go from the macro to the micro in my thoughts, just to make sure that I am understanding the problem at a global level and then solving it at a local level. I don't know how to explain that, but just solving it at a very personal level and understanding what could I do. Again, for me, my best case is me. I'm just kind of starting from there, because if I have to influence anybody, or if I have to even say anything to anybody, it will only hold power and it will only reach the other person if I believe in it and I implement it. I cannot, otherwise those words have no weight. They're fluff. And that's not what we are here for. I think whatever it is, little bit, have the sense of responsibility to own it and to understand what it is. So again, I start with self-awareness. That's my go-to. Understanding what you are fully, not becoming great, knowing whatever you are. It's just that. So understanding that, and then building from there. So then you already have a point A, this is where you are, and then you can have a point B and you can make the journey towards that. So understanding that is important. So that's where I start from. And then because you now understand, and understanding yourself to the level of what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and all of that, a complete understanding of your full self, so that you are comfortable in your own skin, that this is what I am. I would love to be that, but I am not that. That awareness is number one, right? And then, when leader is self-aware, what happens is, and they also know what their triggers are. They know what is happening. Plus, they can, so leaders have the ability to work around people that have complementing strengths. That's one other thing that I talk about, to my clients. I was like, when you are hiring, make sure that you don't hire your clones. That's not what you want. You want to have people that are having complementing strengths, because at the end of the day, you want to deliver a result that is outside of your capacity. You want to bring everybody together again. So collaborating and bringing people together is another skill of a leader. And for that, they have to be self-aware, and then they have to kind of hire people that are also, they have their different strengths than they have, so that they can again work towards a whole. Some of the parts make a whole, right? So kind of that mindset. And then thinking about what is it that they can influence, what is it that they can do within their capacity and their power, right? There could be people that could be working in your team, and they are your direct point of influence. Or there could be people, plus there are people that, your colleagues and your management and whoever else is. So wherever you are in the chain or the hierarchy, everybody can be a leader and can have influence on all four directions, right? So that's how I kind of look at it. So I actually draw a visual where, I'm talking to my clients and telling them, draw me a visual of where you think you are and where you think your impact is. Whom can you impact? Most of the people only have a downgoing arrow. They don't have an arrow that is going up. They never have an arrow going on the side. It is so important to have this arrows as all the arrows as well, because it is important for us to understand how we are being, viewed by people, and what is it that we can do to bring these people also with us. A leader is a leader, not when they say they are, when others say they are. And how will others say they are when they are actually living that, So how can you live that? By being self-aware, and then by practicing those skills, by living it, right? It's only then other people will view you as that, right?
Wow. So I don't know if I've ever heard it put this way. So I'm so happy you talked about this. It's the first time I really thought about this. And something that you said really stuck out to me is that you don't have to be in a leadership role to be a leader. That's right. Huge. I mean, if you think of it that way, anyone has the capacity or capability to be a leader, no matter where they are. And I love the visual about going, side to side and then up and down, because that's important. And I could see most people, as you said, think about going downstream only. So, wow, that's definitely one of the most important topics ever discussed on this show. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. Absolutely. So yes, and I think, so understanding that, and then empowering the people that are around us, and again, around all positions, right? Those people, the ones that are above us, already feel empowered. That's okay, because they already think that they are in a position, right? So maybe that gives them that empowerment. But the people around us and below us, they don't feel empowered as much, because, these people feel territorial, and these people feel like they have to suck it up. They have to not be themselves. They have to, be naysayers and stuff like that. But, and that is again not a healthy environment. See, one thing, Roger, it may sound a little radical, but if you be very, very selfish in what you want, no matter at home, at work, or wherever you are. And I'm sorry, I'm bringing it to self-awareness, but that is the focal point. Because what happens is that, or the self, sorry, what happens is that if I think if I think about what do I want, at a very core level, I want peace, I want happiness, I want love. It's probably the same thing that all of us want, right? So when we go to that level, if I am thinking, what do I want? I want this. And I want this at home, at work, in a social gathering, wherever I go, I want these things everywhere, right? So now if I want that, what do I need to get it? Simple. So when I think like that, now what do I need to get it? I need people to behave nicely. I need people to love me. I need people to respect me, right? How will they do that? Then you think about, okay, if I act in this way, then they will do that. Now, can I act in this way? Is it something that is possible for me? Do I want to do it then? If it is possible, great, do it. If it is not possible, do I want to learn to do it? Do I want to acquire that skill? Yes, okay, great. No, okay, just be aware of that I cannot do that. I don't want to do that. It's okay. Even when you realize that, when you rationalize it like that, and when you internalize it, that I know that this is what is needed, but I cannot do it, then you become a gateway for others that are wanting to do it to go ahead. Right now, leaders often, without realizing, are blockers. They literally block the growth of other people. I have personally experienced, and I've had so many people share this with me. So many of my clients have said that we all know that we quit jobs not because of the complexity of the job itself, but because of the people that, don't allow us to blossom, to grow. And blossoming is so important a word for me, because, if you are not doing that, if you don't have the space for that, then you are at the wrong place. Because value yourself so much, value your peace, your core values so much, that if they are not being met, go for a different place, because you're doing yourself a huge disservice by being where you are not valued. Because what happens is that you will yourself dim that light within you, and that's a big loss. I mean, I almost kind of, that's my fear factor. Like, I don't want to dim my light. I cannot. I want to go to a place where I can shine. If it is not here, by all means, I want to get out. Because you have to value yourself so much that you know this about yourself, and that valor will come in you if you value it, if you understand that. So that's how I've kind of navigated my career. I have always been, and it's been very less times that I've had to quit positions because of this scenario, but I have, and it's okay, because at that point I didn't want to fight that, and I didn't want to, get into that stress, because I valued myself enough. So I think understanding that is important. And coming back to what I was saying, so each individual, if we think about what it is that we want, and then we will understand how to behave and how to get that, right? So if each individual does that, I think that will really make a change in the culture of the place. It will definitely, that's when you start influencing. That's when you start impacting people by actually living it. So I did, at one of my jobs, I tried that myself. I was like, I'm only going to be real. And I used to literally, journaling is one thing that has helped me so much. I cannot stress the importance of it. So I used to literally write, and I used to journal about the things that I want to do and the people. And I used to literally, take just for my sake to understand, I used to literally make a list of people that from all these 4 directions. And I wanted to understand that if I am able to influence even one decision, that's a check for me. I wanted to do that. And I took that as a challenge to myself, because, am I living it? I can talk all about it, but am I? So that's when I started doing that. And it helped me so much, I cannot tell you. And then, of course, when people start seeing you, you become visible automatically. That's actually my secret of being of the visibility, is that you automatically become visible, because now you're suddenly shining bright, because you're being yourself, because you're comfortable in your own skin. You're not worried about whatever. So,
sorry to interrupt, but are you intentionally, so say that list you made of people, lateral, up and down, are you intentionally contacting these people, having discussions with them? What does that look like, say, in the actual environment?
Sure. So what it looked like was in my day-to-day life, you actually, when we come to understanding and when we look at it thoughtfully, we are actually working with all these people all day long. We are interacting with our colleagues, we are interacting with our team, we are interacting with our, management and stuff like that. So we are already doing that at some level, So it is about coming together and understanding what is it that how can you, again, think about the macro problem that you can solve. What is it that I'm contributing? What about my job is so important to this whole organization, right? And how can I value add? So when you think about that, then you can think about the ways that you can do your job better maybe, or you can do something different that you want to, and so on. So I started having those conversations with people, whoever it impacted, whoever my change was going to impact, or my thoughts, were, can I talk to my management? I am thinking about this. Do you think this makes sense? Or do you think this is logical, and stuff like that? So going from that place towards your management and understanding because they are there, I believed they are there for a reason, and that is because they have additional experience, they have different perspectives, and it is always good to welcome those. So that's how I used to work with those. My peers, because if I were to make any shift, they are going to get impacted, because we are all kind of, working with each other in that sense. So, if I was to do something differently, I wanted to socialize it with them. I wanted to tell them that this is what we are doing. Do you guys think differently? And, so just having that kind of conversations helped. And then talking to my team about the same stance. This is what I'm thinking. What do you guys think about it? Do you think we can achieve it? Then it is about, bringing them together and seeing how we can work on the vision. So doing that really helped all of these areas of influence.
Wow, that's a lot of, as I like to say, gems in there. Thank you for dropping that. How does emotional intelligence play into all this? We talked about self-awareness, and we also talked about the leadership part of it, but where does emotional intelligence fit in?
Emotional intelligence is infused into everything that I think, that everything that we do, because the way we do it is what it is, right? So for example, when you are self-aware, and then when you act, you are acting emotionally intelligently. When you are managing yourself well, by understanding that what I want, what I don't want, and allowing others to grow, and so on and so forth, you are being emotionally intelligent. When you are managing your relationships in a way where, you are empathizing with them, where you are understanding what the impacts are going to be. You are not just thinking about something and, just going and doing it. You are actually talking to people, managing your relationships and bringing them together. That is doing it emotionally intelligently, right? So it is about, and it is also about being socially aware. How is my being going to impact the people around me in the society? What is it that I am bringing out, or what is it that I stand for? How am I relating to people that is going to help them, or whatever it is going to do? Just being aware of that. So I think all of these are actually implementing these things are living emotionally intelligently. I think that's how it is infused in our day to day. Empathy is again big, and I'm sure you've heard of that. It's almost it is very important to remember that we have all either been there and experienced that, or we may never be there, but we can still live that experience from the others without getting emotionally charged with it, and empathizing that could be a pain area for them, or that could be something that is problematic to that person. So understanding and helping them rise from there, so it is very important. And this empathy is extremely important for a coach. I think, understanding what the other person is suffering. If I've never experienced it, I don't want to refute it. That's not how you work. You really, and that's also in a professional setting. If your client, if your team member, or if your colleague or somebody is experiencing something that you have never experienced, and if you just refute it, then it's not going to work. It's not going to make you grow. It is going to actually shut them towards you. They are not going to be open to you. So I think empathy opens a lot of doors in that sense. I think it is about not getting emotionally involved, but being empathetic towards, being understanding towards what the other person is going through, and respecting their journey, respecting their perspective. I think that is important.
Falguni, when we talk about all these things, our focus primarily has been, I think, in the workplace. You did touch on, home as well. But when it comes to work-life balance, how does that fit into all this? And people have different definitions of this, but from your perspective in your work and your coaching, talk to us about work-life balance, the importance of it, and if people are struggling with, keeping that balance or maintaining that balance, what do you have to offer?
I think work-life balance for me is about balancing our own life, because what happens is we tend to compartmentalize our life, right? This is my work time and this is my family time. And this pandemic has actually changed the entire definition for everybody. So now we are learning the new definition of work-life balance, because now suddenly we have kids at home that are, needing attention. Suddenly we have the spouse that is wanting to have that hot cup of tea and whatever, So it's now changing a whole lot. So in this new environment, the work-life balance really would mean being honest about whatever your situation is. I have found this is again new. Before that, it was a different way of living, so it meant differently, but I'm talking about the situation we are in now. So it is about, being honest with whatever our struggles are. And the balance word is very, very important here. Regardless of whichever room we are in, and are we against a computer or are we talking to somebody in person, it is going to be important to be honest and be real about what we are experiencing. When we are working, it is really okay for us to be able to tell our kids and our family members to really let us be, because you need to focus. I think work cannot take away from your other things that are going on in the family. So to strike that balance between, now I got to go to work, so now I need to focus on this, so please don't disturb me for 2 hours, whatever it is. I think bringing that, I don't think now it's been an 8 hours work day now. We all have this different breaks where we have to take for, kids are wanting lunch, and so you really go there, and it may not necessarily be just the 12 to 1 time that we used to kind of have in our old days. It could be 12:30 to 1:30, whatever it is. I'm just saying. So understanding that and being very transparent about it at both the places, at home as well as at work, is very important. I think having this communication very, very clearly with our work colleagues as well as with our family, and telling them that, this is what I will be doing. This is what my day looks like today. I used to do it by the day, Roger. When it all started, I was like, I used to go through my calendar. I was telling them that this is what I need. And I used to include, my work time into the calendar as well, just to make sure that I'm covered for that, So I did that, and I used to share that, so my kids have their timetables, from their school. They have those schedules. So they have their schedule. I printed one of mine as well, so that they know, because now they are aware, so that they know, what time they can, reach out to me and what time they cannot. So we color coded it, and we did a lot of fun with it just to understand. And then I color coded their schedules too, so that they know when it is okay for them to get away from the computer. They're 5 and 7, Roger. So I have to do these kind of things, And then it also helped because my husband is also, working from home. So we have 4 schedules stuck on our refrigerator, and everybody knows, what the colors mean and stuff like that. It's very beautiful, actually. So it's about finding what is working for you. I think work-life balance is now so much about how you, think creatively about it. Figure it out what works for you, and be transparent and honest about whatever your situation is. Communicate. It is so important to communicate, especially now that we are not seeing each other often. Our work colleagues, we are not seeing them often. So it's very important for them, and to also tell them that, call me at this number whenever you need me, if I'm not around or whatever it is. Having that conversation and that communication very clearly laid out is, and I think people are also understanding. I have not heard of people at workplaces that are not understanding about this situation, because it is so globally affecting every single individual that, they all have empathy suddenly born in everybody now. So I think it's a good gift that the pandemic has given us. But regardless, I mean, it is important to just work it out your way, but just remember that, be open to communication and be very transparent.
Yeah, I love the fact that you talked about the honesty, both at work and at home. And that way, I think everyone would feel better about
Correct.
where they are, and they're not feel guilty, or that they have to be doing something at a certain time. If they're transparent about it, then there's really nothing to hide.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I think it's important for the families also to understand that, work is as important like the kids and all. And I think people get it. Even my 5-year-old gets it.
For sure. Wow. So Falguni, this has been a wonderful conversation. I appreciate so much you coming on and dropping so much wisdom on us today. But before I let you go, can you talk about visibility? And in particular, I know you have a 16-week visibility coaching program. That's probably one of the longest coaching programs I ever heard of. I'd love to know why. That's 4 months, correct? And tell us about that and what that means.
Yes. So, visibility coaching, 16-week coaching program is my baby. So it is something that has been born out of my passion for helping people, and it has been it is born out of my need to spread that importance of self-awareness, and to discuss a lot of things that we have discussed today, but to talk to individuals and leaders actually, to help them lead a balanced life, in the sense of, visibility is something that we professionally know as, being visible, being seen by a lot of people and have that influence. It is true. It is true for everybody who is at that position or not. So it is just about reframing that a little bit to understand that visibility is the ability to be seen by people, and to be seen, understood, heard, and all of that. And when will that happen is when you are comfortable in your own skin. So understanding, being visible of your own self, and then being understanding of how you connect to the world. So that is what we talk about in the visibility program. This is a 16-week self-discovery program where, and 16 weeks because, so there are, let me talk about the structure, so you'll see why. So we talk about, understanding who am I. That is the basis, that is the foundation of our whole program. So it is gaining attention towards who am I. It is then setting an intention towards what I want to be, and then manifesting how I do it. So, that's the idea around the manifestation aspect of it. And then expansion is, how do I continue to grow? This is essentially the wheel. So what happens, and this is all surrounded by the outer wheel of emotional intelligence. So, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management, we discussed that. So it is that, and it is about understanding how all of this is going to happen. And so it is not just all knowledge, it is implementation, because I understand that implementation is where the jam is, so I want to tap into that. And we have heard that, any new habit, and this is about habit formation as well. So any new habit forming takes time. And so I want to leave my clients, once they are totally, the techniques that I'm going to teach them are totally infused in their day-to-day life. It is so much merged into them that it becomes part of their autopilot. So I want to do that. And for that, it requires time, and which is why the 16-week training program.
Fantastic. So do you meet once a week, a couple times a week? How does that work?
Yes. So we meet once a week. There are worksheets. There are different things that the client needs to do on a daily basis. So it is a day-to-day program, which is very unique again, because, we have like daily checkpoints that, that they have to kind of meet and check off and things like that, because that is when, because you're working with the mind. I'm infusing my leadership, my emotional intelligence, and all of those hypnotherapy and all of those techniques with my neuro-linguistic programming techniques as well. just to work with the mind, go to the root of where all of these issues lie, why we are not growing, why we are not aware, and what we are not aware of, and so on. So ask those fundamental questions, go to that root, and then start uprooting from there. So that's why it's real work. And it is daily work, because it cannot happen overnight. Some of these things require daily insertions.
And if people are interested in this program, what's the best way for them to find it? And also, if they're interested in your coaching services, what is the best way for them to reach you?
They can reach me out on any social media platform, including going to my website. There is a whole lot of information on the course there. They can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I am pretty active there, so they can DM me there as well. I'm pretty much almost everywhere.
Fantastic. Well, Falguni Katira, welcome to the American Real family. Thank you so much for being with us today and for sharing so much great value and insight. I would love to have you back at some point so we could do another check-in. But for now, thank you so much. And we look forward to following you on LinkedIn and elsewhere.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Roger. This was great. It's my pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning into American Real. Be sure to visit our website, americanreal.tv, or search for us on iTunes or YouTube for past episodes. While you're there, please rate us or leave us a review, as that helps others find our show. I am truly grateful and appreciate all of your support. If you'd like to be part of our inner circle or want one-on-one coaching, check out the American Real Learning Academy, where we have self-help groups and courses so you can build the best you. We also have a new Facebook group where you can connect with high achievers from around the world. If you want to go even further, maybe you're determined to write your own book or launch your own podcast, contact me today to see if we could help. You can reach me through Instagram or Facebook, or email me directly at roger@americanreal.tv. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.